guys! Okay, so this is going to be my birth, labour and delivery video. So Charlie Oliver was born on the 18th of November 2015, weighing in at £7.10, and he was born at 10:04 p.m. So my labour with him was a lot worse than my labour with Harry, and I will explain why. So this pregnancy has been really, really rough anyway, with all my sickness that I've been having. And then I had really bad hemorrhoids, and they were like external hemorrhoids from about like 37, 38 weeks. However, when I got to 39 weeks on the dot, they were so painful. I couldn't sit down, I couldn't like get comfortable in the bed. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning on the 15th of November, and I was in so much pain. I ended up ringing the midwife on like the on-call number and saying like, I'm in so much pain, I really need like help, I need something. So I spoke to the lady who was on like at 4 o'clock in the morning, and she said, I can't really do anything now, but what I'll do is I'll pass on your message to the day staff, and then what they'll do is they will ring you in the morning. So I could not wait for that phone call. I was literally in the bath trying to get comfortable when Matt like came running up with the landline. He was like, the midwife's on the phone, the midwife's on the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was speaking to her, and I was making it pretty clear that I was really uncomfortable, and I couldn't go on like another, well, if he'd have been 2 weeks overdue, then I would have gone on for another 3 weeks like this. So yeah, it was really awful. And I said to her, like, is there anything that we can do? And she said, oh, I can give you a sweep. And I was like, brilliant, let's do that. She said, it might not work. And I was like, I don't care, like, let's do this. So she said, okay, come down to the hospital, like the main hospital that we live near, at around, I think it was 5 p.m. So we did that, and we dropped Harry off at Matt's mum and dad's first, and we went down there, and she checked me, and she said, right, you're like literally 1 centimetre, but I can sweep you. So she gave me a really, really good sweep, and it was the most uncomfortable thing, well, not the most uncomfortable thing I've ever had done, but more uncomfortable sweep than the one I had with Harry. And yeah, so after that, I then started to cramp, and I actually lost a lot of plug whilst she'd done that. Like, she took her hand down, I was like, oh my god. So then after that, we then went home, and we just had dinner. Nothing really happened. Like, I got the odd cramps, but nothing really that much. I guess my Braxton Hicks were like slightly more strong, but there wasn't really anything much to phone home about type thing. So then after that, if I just quickly look at my notes, I had irregular contractions on and off the next day. So that was the 16th of November, but then they would stop when I go to bed. So but they were like literally about maybe 10 minutes, 8 minutes apart. They weren't massively strong, and they were more kind of annoying than anything. I just sort of like noticed them rather than them being like, oh my god, this is so painful type thing. So then after that, the next day, I was 39 weeks plus 2 days, so 17th of November, and it was just a normal day. Matt went to work as normal. I think it fell on a Tuesday. Yeah, 17th was a Tuesday. So he had to work that day, and normally Tuesday's his day off, so sod's law, right? So anyway, he was at work, and I just went about my day normal, but I did read somewhere that if you use your breast pump, that can kind of like trigger a hormone off. So I thought, I'm going to try that and just see what happens. I got a little bit of colostrum, like that bright yellow milk, come out, and I thought, oh, I better stop, like, just in case I don't have enough left. And I went downstairs, and I had lunch, and then I had some popcorn, and I was just sitting on the sofa eating popcorn, and I felt like a gush, and I was like, oh, what was that? So I sat on the loo, and I changed my pads, went downstairs, and I felt it again, and I was like, what is this? Like, surely I can't be wetting myself, like, how embarrassing would that be? Even though my pelvic floor is like quite weak, but I was like, oh no. So I didn't tell anyone, because I didn't think that it was my waters going, because I didn't want to be like, oh, everyone, my waters have gone, and then it not be my waters, because that would be really embarrassing. So I sat on the sofa, continuously changing pads throughout, you know, I was going through maybe like one every 20 minutes, and it was like the really thick, like these ones, thick, and they're that long. So I was going through them really, really quickly, and I thought, you know, maybe this is my waters, and I was actually sat on the loo and I went for a wee, and then I felt like another gush, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I rung Matt, and the video for all of these shenanigans that have been happening so far are actually on my labour video when I actually went into labour with him. So if you haven't seen that, go back a few videos. So yeah, so I was sat here and I was ringing him and he would not pick up his phone because he was at work, and apparently he was like doing a refund at the tills, so I was like, oh my god. But he thought something was up after he had like 2 missed calls. So I rung him and I said, my waters are gone, and he went, yay! And he was like, right, okay, I need like an hour so I can cover the shop so I can actually leave. I was like, yeah, that's fine. I said I'm not contracting or anything, so it's like no big deal. So then I rang Matt's parents and I said, I'm just going to go and pick up Harry from school. And they said, oh, do you want us to pick him up? And I was like, no. I said, oh, I need to drop him off to you though, if that's okay. And they were like, yeah, that's fine. But sorry, prior to that, when I was kind of had an inkling that they were gone, my waters had gone, I went down to the school to pick up Harry from school, and I felt another gush, and I was literally there like, oh no, like almost like with my legs like really tight together, and he was literally the last one out, and I was like, oh, for crying out loud. So that was really annoying, and I had to like waddle home. It was so funny. Yeah, that's when I rung everyone. So then after that, I packed up all my bags. Matt came home, and he was like, how long are your contractions apart? And I was like, Matt, I told you I'm not contracting. And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, just calm down. And he was like, right, we need to get all the bags in the car. And he was like really like like this, like on like tenterhooks. And I was like, Matt, like you need to chill out. Like I'm relaxed, I'm fine. Like I'm not contracting, it's absolutely fine. So we dropped Harry off at Matt's mum's, and then we realised that we hadn't actually eaten any lunch. We hadn't eaten any dinner. And I thought we were going to have to be kept in overnight because I thought that they were just going to start me off sort of there and then. But apparently I was wrong. So then what happened? So then we went to McDonald's through the drive-thru. I was driving, and it was funny. There's like a little intercom thing like there, and you have to like shout through the window at them. And I said, oh, can I have like a McChicken sandwich and then some chicken strips and whatever, and a chicken wrap. And then for all the chicken ones, he was like, do you want that grilled or do you want that crispy? Oh, okay. And would you like that grilled or would you like that crispy? And I was like, oh my God, like this is taking forever. And then suddenly my waters went again and it was all over my car seat. I was like, oh no. So we drove through the drive-thru and the bloke was like, have a nice day. And I was like, okay then, we're going to like have a baby, but okay. Little did he know. So then we got to Matt's mum's, like I said, dropped Harry off, ate, went to hospital, and then it was really like a bit of an anticlimax, really. I was really disappointed because I was kind of expecting, like I said, for them to actually like do something, and they said, right, okay, can I check your last pad that you had on? I said, yeah, here it is, and she said, yeah, that's definitely your water's gone. Can I have your notes? So she did my notes for me, and she said, right then, here's a piece of paper. On it says what to do if you start contracting. Other than that, go home and we're going to induce you tomorrow. And I was like, huh? What? I said, are you even going to check me for dilation? Oh, no, we don't want to do that, she said, because risk of infection. I was like, oh, okay. So that was a bit rubbish because Matt's mum and dad were going to go to Kent, where they've got a flat up there, but they ended up not going, and I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, I know it's like a real anticlimax, but like, nothing's really happening. They were like, oh my gosh, no, that's okay. So anyway, they had Harry overnight, and we had a little walk round, but it didn't really trigger any contractions off. I got in the bath, and I had like Braxton Hicks, but it was just kind of like every 8 minutes, and they weren't, like I said, weren't massively strong, and then they disappeared when I went to bed. So I woke up on the 18th of November, and they said, if you don't get a phone call by midday, to ring them. So bang on midday, I rang them, the labour suite, and I said, the induction number, and I said, hello, I'm meant to be induced today. I haven't had a phone call. And she was like, oh, okay, no worries. Well, I'm going to ring you then at about 3 o'clock and we'll arrange an appointment. And I was like, oh, I'm really anxious. Like, I really need to know what time. And she said, oh, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll ring you at 2:30. I was like, right, okay. And I think she ended up ringing me at 2, but I was literally like sat there next to my phone like this, like the whole time, like, has she rung yet? Has she rung yet? Has she rung yet? Because I was so excited. And again, no contractions. So, you know, I was just sat there just like pottering around the house doing laundry. And then what happens? Then let me just have a look at my notes. Yeah, I've pretty much covered everything so far. So yeah, so then after that we got a phone call at 2 o'clock, and she said, "Oh, hi, Corinne. Can you please come in at 3 o'clock?" And I was like, "Yes, I can. So this was literally like I don't know, maybe she rang me about 1:30, or maybe it was 1 o'clock. Oh God, to be honest, I really can't remember. But I did update on my status saying like, oh my God, we're going in an hour. This is so exciting. So we got in the car at 2:30, and I thought this was going to be plenty of time. But what happened was we got stuck in traffic, and then we couldn't find a parking space, and then Matt was like driving around the car park like a madman, and I was like, oh my God, like this is really stressful. And then we got out the car. I had a bag. He had a bag. I don't think we had the car seat though. And then he said, oh, I forgot my phone. So we had to like walk all the way across the car park again to get his phone. And then that was really stressful. And then he's like, oh, I haven't had much lunch. And I was like, oh, crying out loud, like this is all about you, isn't it? And then after that, we got there and we were like a little bit late. It was like 2 or 3 minutes past 3, and I hate being late for things. So I was like, oh, for crying out loud, this is so annoying. Anyway, so she said, right, this is going to be your induction room. There's me thinking I would have my own room. No. I walked in, there was 3 other people in the room, like behind curtains, like a thin curtain. It smelled like sweat. It was hot.